The child has to attain certain milestones before he or she starts speaking. We call it pre-linguistic skills. That is why a baby takes at least 1 year to start speaking. So in the first 1 year, there are many changes or many milestones the child undergoes. So now let's see those milestones one by one. The first thing is responding to a sensory stimulus. That means when there is a stimulus around the environment, say there is a light or there is a sound, the baby should be aware of it and the child should be responding to it. Then responding to speech. So when the caretaker or the parent makes a sound or when they start speaking to the child should be aware and start responding. Then the next thing is attention span. Yes, attention span is very important. Without that, no learning happens. Then communication turn taking. That is when the caretaker or the parent talks to the child makes a sound. And then again the caretaker talks and again in response to that the child makes a sound. So that is a turn taking, communication turn taking, which is very, very essential. Then playing with toys. So when you're introducing toys to the child and they start playing with it meaningfully, which is also an important skill. Then understanding of language. Yes. So if we do not know a language, if we have to talk in that language, definitely understanding comes even before that, right? Same way, the child has to understand simple words or simple sentences, and then when you're giving certain commands or frequent instructions, the baby should be able to understand that. Then comes imitation. So that is like copying. If you want the child to say certain words like ball or give, which is a complex motor movements, like complex speech movement. So before the child starts imitating that movement, the child should be able to imitate some simple actions, say like clap or tap or wave. So those gross motor movements which is much easier for a child to imitate than the complex speech movements. Then intentional vocalizations. That means like cooing, jargon, the child starts making sounds which is more intentional, which is under the child's control. Then comes using gestural communication. That is 1 year, the first 1 year, it doesn't mean the child doesn't communicate at all. The child definitely expresses the child's needs initially through crying, then through some actions like come or give or through pointing. So those gestural communication the child has to develop. And one important aspect is joint attention. For example, when there is a ball and you are trying to teach the name of it to the child and you point to the ball and say ball, see ball, and the child also look towards that object. Or when the child is pointing towards a cookie and you are looking at the same cookie, that is both of you paying attention to the same item. So that is joint attention. And later that joint attention develops into like reading a book together, or when the teacher is teaching something in the class and the teacher is teaching and the child also responding to it. So that complex joint attention skills develop. Then communication intent, which is again most important thing, that is the child should have the intention to communicate, without which speech or communication is not going to be complete. So we have to create a certain environment or certain situations where we give more opportunities for all these skills to develop. When a parent comes to us, say a speech therapy session, so they expect us as a speech therapist, they are expecting us to work on the child's speech. Like they might say, okay, my child is not speaking, so please work on the speech, which is like say mama, say papa. So please be informed that we will be working on all these skills before we move on to speech. That is the normal development, the normal milestone usually a baby goes through. Hope you found this video useful. Thank you.